Today's Q&A is about Chalav Stam nowadays. And the question is that our family always ate Chalav Stam based on the ruling of Rav Moshe Feinstein that it was mutter. And we've been hearing that there's that maybe his reasons don't apply anymore, and we wanted to know if there's any truth to that. So Rav Moshe wrote many tshuvas about Chalav Yisrael, and in each one of them he says that it's preferable that people should drink what's the traditional Chalav Yisrael. But even so, he says that it's mutter to drink what we call Chalav Stam. He doesn't use that word, but what we call Chalav Stam, because there's government inspection of the dairy farms to make sure only cow's milk is used. Now, people, I believe that people who did that, who relied on that opinion, can continue to do so. And the question that's been come up, there are rumors that the inspectors no longer ask if there's cows on the farm. And it's actually, if you look at their farm, you would see it doesn't say any place, does this milk come from cows? So that sounds like, whoa, there's no inspection anymore on this item. So there's a couple of reasons why I don't believe that that's correct. And the first is, the law is very clear that milk and milk products that are sold to the public must come from cows, unless you're very clear that it's not. And also, the inspectors have told people working in Hashgacha that if they saw somebody using milk from another animal, and even if they even had another type of animal on the dairy farm, they would right away be cited for a violation. So it might not say it on their form, does the milk come from cows, but it's obvious to them, and they would definitely punish someone who used some other kind of milk. Next is that it's sort of impossible here in the United States to get equipment to milk non-kosher animals. Like, the only violations that people ever see is a farmer will put in some goat milk or sheep milk instead of cow's milk. Those are both kosher. And even that is very uncommon, that someone should put anything else other than cow's milk. And it's really hard to actually get milk from other non-kosher animals. And last is that the requirement, the question had been, wait, it doesn't say any place that you have to use, the inspector doesn't ask if you're using cow's milk. And the thinking is that it's so obvious that it has to come from a cow, and that it will come from a cow, and it's so unusual and rare that anybody would violate that they don't bother asking the questions. So it's sort of like when we tell a mashgiach what he should do when he visits a restaurant or a factory, we don't say to him, make sure that the restaurant is not using ham, because it's obvious that if he would see them using ham, that he would call it in. But we don't bother telling him that because it just doesn't happen in kosher restaurants. Anyhow, so accordingly, the thinking is that if you relied on Moshe Feinstein until now, you can continue to do so. Now, I will mention, however, that these regulations and this type of oversight is for milk that's sold commercially, but that does not apply when you buy raw milk from a farm, where there's no government oversight of what the bottle, what's inside that bottle. So there. It seems to me that even Rav Moshe would say is that a yid has to watch the milking of the cows. Also, the idea that we have that there's oversight and regulations is true in the United States and in certain other countries, but does not necessarily apply in every other part of the world. So if a person is traveling out of the country, they should check with the local VAD to see whether the kula of allowing Chalav Stam applies in the country that's traveling to.